When my daughter was a very little girl, we taught her to be generous. And then we would try to help homeless people. And then we had to teach her how to discern whether someone was just scamming or not. That was a hard one. I didn't want her to teach her to be isolated and stingy. So the best I could come up with was to look in their eyes and try to discern if they were telling the truth. I said, sometimes we make a mistake and we trust someone who doesn't have good intentions, but we try our best, we act out in generosity, and then we move on. And if we can trust someone, it'll bear itself up. But sometimes we don't have the opportunity to determine that. So one time we lived in Seattle, we had come across the ferry. We were walk-ons, so we were leaving on the footbridge up into the second block up the hill from the ferry in Seattle. There's a long bridge that leaves the second deck and hits the second street up. So we were walking down that and we looked around and Christina was nowhere to be found. And this walkway, this bridge was like 2 blocks long. And we were, alarmed right away. We looked back and here she was squatting down with her little pink purse. I think she was like probably 7 or 8 years old, probably 8. She was squatting down in front of a young homeless guy who was cross-legged on the surface of the street there, this bridge, with a little cup next to him looking for donations. And he was very quiet, kind of looked very sad. And she was staring into his eyes. And we watched her for a minute, and finally she pulled out her little pink purse and she took out $1 and she put it in his cup and she came running up to us. And we said, "What were you doing, Christina?" And she said, "I was trying to see if he was telling the truth, and I think he was." And that's the best we can do. Sometimes we run into people who have great power and they have the ability to persuade us that they're telling the truth. And maybe they aren't. But we have to keep going on, but we learn. So how do we know at that higher level that we can trust somebody? You've run into the need to trust people in the construction industry. You call in subs and you deal with an owner, and it might be the state, it might be a county, it might be a large church or big organization. How do you determine if you can trust someone, especially if it's a one-off? You have one job here and then another job there.